Turning to a wrap of your top stories of the day.
Authorities are investigating a deadly shooting involving a former Alexander County Sheriff's deputy. Deputies found former Deputy Joey Williams and another man, Robert Carpenter. Williams was taken to the hospital, Carpenter dead at the scene. Deputies tell us the two men got into an argument before shooting at each other.
Hurricane Aaron is forcing thousands on the Carolina coast to leave their homes this morning. This is video from the Outer Banks yesterday. You can see some of those massive waves causing dangerous swimming conditions. This week, Governor Josh Stein declared a state of emergency, urging people to be careful amid possible flooding and strong rip currents.
While this hurricane won't be a major threat to the Charlotte area, city officials say this is the perfect time to prepare for future storms. Strong winds and heavy rain from hurricanes can bring down large branches, topple trees, and damage property. If you're concerned about a tree on your property, consult an expert. And for emergency situations, call 911 immediately.
And a reminder that the news does not end here. Coming up on WCNC Plus, you're going to have the latest on the Hurricane Aaron track, also the impacts for the Carolina coast, plus what you need to know about early voting for Charlotte's primary. It starts today. And a warning for parents why you may want to check your child's backpack before they leave for school this morning. That starts at 7 o'clock on WCNC Plus. We hope that you will join us there. All right, make it a great Thursday. For streaming live on WCNC Plus at 7 o'clock on this Thursday. You're taking a live look right now at Wrightsville Beach this morning. We are expecting to get a better look at any damage caused by Hurricane Aaron as the sun comes up this morning. We know that the storm is still hundreds of miles off the coast, but we are seeing some of the impacts. They're going to be felt along the coastline in both Carolinas. We've been talking about this all this week. We know that North Carolina's Governor Josh Stein declared a state of emergency, urging people to be careful amid possible flooding and the strong rip currents.
Too many people have died driving into flooded roadways. Don't do it. You do not know how deep water is or how fast it is running. So please, don't drown, turn around. We do not want you to become a casualty of Hurricane Erin. I want to emphasize the importance of taking this storm seriously because it's a serious storm.
Again, thanks for joining us here on WCNC Plus. We have Majestic with us as well as Chris. And I know you guys have been looking at this, and it's such a big storm. And is it weakening now? Because I think at one point it was weakening, then it regained some strength. So what's happening now?
Yeah, now it's pretty much at its neutral phase. It'll start to weaken, I would say, over the next 12 to 24 hours.
Okay.
And I think the worst of any flooding or situation that we have in the Outer Banks is now starting to retreat a little bit.
Yeah, and it was a big, huge wave maker. It seemed like just watching how big the waves are in the storm surge and kind of just that coastal flooding, but thankfully didn't make landfall. But we also are watching a couple of areas in the tropics that are back behind it now.
Oh, yeah. No, and the next one is Fernan, by the way. You do not pronounce the D. And then we have Gabrielle after that. And we actually have two of those waves that could pop up over in the next week. But I want to get right out to some of these images that we have. These are all JPEG images along here on NC12. This is the worst that I'm seeing right now. This is Ocracoke right near the ferry dock. And you can see a lot of sand here in the roadways. It does look like there's some tree debris as well. Winds weren't really a big issue here. The highest wind gust that I saw was around 43 miles per hour. That was right around Hatteras. We also had some inland areas that had similar gusts, but I wouldn't be surprised gusts that were over that 50 mile per hour mark, but the wind was never really the big issue. It was just what the waves were going to do. And here's a better look. You can see in the upper left here, this is right around Buxton, North Carolina. That's where we have a lot of sand that's left out in the road. And then over around Hatteras Village, look at all the water that is now taking over Highway 12 here. So yeah, we have a lot of the leftover water and sand and debris that's along the highway here. And there's a good reason why a lot of these sections were indeed closed overall. And you actually have a new update that just popped up. As I mentioned, these are JPEG cameras, so they update once per minute, and sometimes they're lagged up to about 3 minutes. New update right here around Oregon Inlet. I can't really see what's going on because I think there's a bunch of water and sand sticking to the lens, so that if that doesn't say anything. Hurricane Erin, the next update's going to be at 8 o'clock. Of course, we'll keep you updated right here on WCNC Plus. Winds at 105 miles per hour, so exactly what Lisa was saying. It popped up to about 110, then down to 105, and it's going to stay around this range in the near term. And if this had made landfall, man, we're talking about a big time story. This thing is so massive. Say if it did make landfall anywhere between Wilmington and the Outer Banks, that would have affected our forecast here in the Charlotte area, where we could even have tropical storm force winds. So everything kind of lined up for the right scenario, even though Highway 12 isn't in the best situation right now. There was a lot of overflow and overwash of some of the water that was associated with there. Boy, this is the best case for a nearby hurricane, especially of that magnitude. So for the nearby storm reports, not seeing anything too extensive. The next update might adjust the cone a little bit, but as of right now, it does look like this is going to maintain low-end Category 2 strength over the next 12 to 24 hours. Then it drops down to a Category 1. By the weekend, it's in the northern Atlantic, but look at how much ground this is covering overall. Here, I want to show you. I'm going to use the measurement tool here from Friday 2 a.m. to Saturday 2 a.m. 600 miles. That means this thing is flying well over 25 miles per hour at one point, where it's actually even going to take a visit up to around Ireland and the UK. Now, likely it's just going to die out right through here, a post-tropical storm or a remnant system at that point. But boy, does it really show the situation here. So that's the newest update that you need to know here. Overall, we are looking at a nice improvement as far as Erin is concerned right off the coast. We'll continue to keep you updated as more reports start to come in. That is your Hurricane Erin update. I'll have your full forecast as well as a look at those future potential tropical development coming up here over the next 20 minutes or so. But let's get over to Majestic first to show how your morning commute is looking.
Good Thursday morning, everyone. It is 7:05. If you're getting ready to head out the door, not a bad start to the day. This is coming in from York County. Good morning to everyone streaming this morning from South Carolina. Area roads are nice and dry for you. A little bit of sunshine trying to peek through here and there. Another live camera shot, I-77. You can tell traffic is starting to pick up as more people are awake and starting their day. Here's a look at my map right now. We do have some problems out there for some of our spots. Want to let you know about this area specifically. It's on the inner loop of I-485. We're actually starting to see some improvements as to what I saw just about 20 to 30 minutes ago, but we do have some construction work that's taking a little bit longer to wrap up than it should, so keep that in mind. In addition to that, out towards Pineville, we have an accident on the ramp on I-485, the outer loop there at exit 65. As we head to the north, even north of Uptown, a lane still blocked right here on Brookshire Boulevard at Lawton Road. You can see that yellow, meaning that cars are moving a little slower than they typically would if there wasn't an accident there. And then finally, this is our last active accident. Crash on Little Rock Road at I-85. Want to show you what's going on I-85 if you're coming inbound. We're starting to see our typical slowdowns right there, and much of the same along I-77. Good morning to you out in Rock Hill. Not looking really too bad this morning in York County as a whole. That's what I'm looking at for now. We'll have another check on those area roadways next time I see you back here.
All right, thanks so much, Majestic. In just about an hour, early voting will get underway for the City of Charlotte's primary.
This is your chance to help decide who will be on the ballot this November. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live this morning with everything you need to know before heading out to vote. Destiny.
Yeah, today through September 6th, Charlotte voters will get to vote early in this year's municipal primary, and polls open in just 1 hour here at the Hal Marshall Annex. This is the only location where you'll be able to vote this week here on College Street in Uptown, and then 8 other sites are set to open across the city after Labor Day. Now on the ballot is the mayoral Democratic primary with Mayor Vi Lyles facing 4 other challengers. There are also Democratic primaries in District 1, 3, 4, and 5, while District 6 voters will see a Republican primary. In the City Council at-large race, there's no primary for Republican candidates, but 10 Democrats are running for 4 seats. And if you're not sure who you'll see on your ballot, you can check right now by entering your information on the Mecklenburg County Board of Elections website. And of course, don't forget to bring your photo ID to the polls. Now again, this week, Hal Marshall Annex is the only location where you can vote early. They're going to be open weekdays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then after Labor Day, there will be 9 sites in total open across the city from 8 to 7:30 p.m. And then on Saturday, September 6th, the final day of early voting, you can vote from 8 to 3. So a lot of different options for folks depending on when you go into work, what's the best time for you to vote. And then primary election day is on Tuesday, September 9th. Keep in mind that during early voting, you can vote at any location you choose, but on primary election day, you'll need to vote at your assigned polling location. We have all of that information, or a link to that information, to check your voter status and all of that information in this story on the WCNC Charlotte News app. I'll send it back to you guys live here from Uptown.
And Destiny, just to reiterate, only one location is going to be open today for early voting.
Yeah, that's right. The Hal Marshall Annex on College Street, 618 North College Street here in Uptown. And then other locations, which again, that's in the information we have online, the other locations that will open across the Charlotte area. Right now, we're seeing some people drive in, mostly volunteers this morning as they get ready to open the polls here in about an hour. But this is just the perfect time to come in and vote. Usually local elections don't see as much of a turnout, so you might not see those super long lines, especially on day 1 of early voting, but definitely take advantage of all of these days that are going to be open to vote early. And then obviously primary election day, just choose what day and time works best for you. Lots of options.
It's our civic duty. All right, Destiny, thanks so much. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus. We're back in just 2 minutes.
Charlotte is now one step closer to making a major investment for its future transportation. Last night, city leaders voted to approve the 30-year blueprint for transit and road projects across the region. The plan focuses on 4 major mixed guide rail projects, including light rail and rapid transit expansion. It aims to address the city's growth with a focus on improving connection and reduced congestion. City and county leaders are banking on a November vote for Mecklenburg County on the 1% sales tax increase to fund these transportation improvements.
An update on Gateway Station, the transit project that promised to transform Uptown. That project is years in the making, but developers have yet to build anything. WCNC Charlotte's Walker Lawson shows us what's holding it up.
Well, the Charlotte Gateway Station is meant to be a hub for transit, bringing rail, bus, and other services to the area. But now it's facing new delays, and it's leaving some questioning if it will meet its long-term deadline.
The project is definitely still in the works.
Charlotte City Councilman Ed Driggs says while they're facing hurdles, the project will come to light. Phase 1 wrapped up in 2022, adding new track improvements. But Phase 2, the part that would bring offices, apartments, shops, and a permanent station building, has hit more delays. A letter obtained by WCNC Charlotte from NCDOT to the City of Charlotte shows the agency raising concerns about Charlotte's wavering commitment.
One of the requirements in there was that there would be a train station. Now, NCDOT is working on a schedule. They need that train station by a certain date. So we've had some discussions with them about the possibility of a temporary station if the major project can't get done in time. So what they have paused is that conversation about the temporary station. The work on the larger project continues, and we'll find out a little bit later whether we can do it all at once or whether we need to have an interim temporary station.
NCDOT says the city is no longer willing to fund an interim station, causing costly delays that jeopardize the delivery of a permanent station by December of 2029. The letter also states due to the potential establishment of the Metropolitan Public Transportation Authority under the PAVE Act, and if the 1-cent sales tax passes in the fall, other things could change.
Work continues even while we get through this issue of the temporary train station. So I think it's a huge opportunity for Charlotte. I'm looking forward to it. It's just we do have to overcome some obstacles.
And we'll know more in November if voters do pass that 1-cent sales tax on the ballot. Reporting in Uptown, Walker Lawson, WCNC Charlotte.
Now overseas, where Russia is stepping up attacks on eastern Ukraine, even as the Kremlin signals it's open to ending the war.
This comes as the White House says it's working to set up a face-to-face meeting between Presidents Putin and Zelensky. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest on Ukraine's demands and how President Trump is responding.
New questions this morning about whether a meeting between Ukraine's President Zelensky and Russia's President Putin will actually happen, while the White House voices confidence that it's on track.
Sometimes leaders sitting down face to face can break the logjam that their teams don't necessarily have the ability to do.
Russia is signaling it's in no rush for a leaders' summit, with top diplomat Sergei Lavrov saying lower-level negotiations must come first. And that talks among Western leaders about guaranteeing Ukraine's security are a, quote, road to nowhere without Russia involved. Those talks continued Wednesday at a meeting of NATO military leaders. Ukraine now buoyed by President Trump's new pledge of American assistance to prevent a future Russian attack, though he's ruled out U.S. troops on the ground. Some lawmakers pressing the president to act on the harsher sanctions he's long discussed to ramp up pressure on the Russian economy.
We need to hold Putin accountable. We need to get the parties to the table. We need a ceasefire.
With the Russian bombardment only intensifying, a former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine arguing Putin has no incentive to stop.
They want to continue to pound the Ukrainians until they get what they want. And that's why standing up to them is the only way to do it.
Ukraine's President Zelensky saying overnight his meeting with Putin is necessary to end the war, even as his team is preparing action plans if Russia backs out and its assault drags on. President Zelensky wants security guarantees for Ukraine's future to be hammered out within the next 10 days. One of his top aides in new comments is pressing for concrete and effective agreements, citing past efforts that failed to prevent Russia from going on the attack yet again. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
And keep it right here. We'll be back in about 2 minutes.
.19 now. You're streaming live on WCNC Plus. This is a live look at Rhode Island. You can see the beaches up and down the East Coast, of course, are being affected by Hurricane Aaron. Meanwhile, here in North Carolina, there are concerns about the high surf and flooding. We can see the waves there in Rhode Island. Officials are warning people to avoid the water until this weekend. I'm looking closely. It looks like that's a couple people out there, but I'm not sure. You guys see what I'm
we've
saying?
been like trying to see this whole time.
Maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know.
But either way, you have to be careful if you're going to be heading out. And again, we know that North Carolina is under a state of emergency. Chris, you're seeing this shot as well.
No,
here
yeah,
in
no,
Rhode Island.
I'm looking closer. Like, you're talking
Someone
about near
on the
those rocks?
rocks?
Well,
I see somebody on the trail.
We see the person on the trail, but it looks, maybe those are just,
I don't
that's
think
just
so. Yeah, I think
something on
those
the
are
rocks,
sticks or
or stick or
poles.
something.
Yeah, because that person has really strong leg strength.
Yeah.
Right, okay, maybe not.
Okay, yeah, no, I thought the same thing too.
Yeah.
Well, that was
Been
fun.
staring
That
at
was
these
nice
pictures
to
all
look at.
morning.
Is that a person or not? Thank you for playing.
Yeah, exactly.
I do want to show you, because I've been showing you those JPEG images
Yes.
that are actually from the NCDOT. So this one is north of Hatteras Village. So
Okay.
check this out. See that backhoe to the left, that bulldozer, that actually went through the water and is kind of waiting on standby.
Oh,
I
wow.
think it's going to try to start to move some of the sand that is now on parts of Highway 12 here.
So this is actually part of the highway.
This is part of the highway right
Wow.
here. So yeah, this is NC 12 north of Hatteras Village. This is one of the worst ones that I'm seeing. So obviously right in that little divide there, right near the dunes, the water came through, completely filled it up. So they're going to be trying to remove that there. So you're still seeing a lot of rough seas. Again, this is a JPEG image, so it updates every 1 to 3 minutes, but it really just tells a tale of what's kind of left behind here overall. Yeah. And going forward, I think that water is going to do what's called a negative storm surge. So as it comes in, sometimes when you have a strong storm like this, it can actually pull it back out, which can sometimes lead to some even lower low tides than what areas are used to. So it's still not a great sea. Not saying, hey, jump in the water now. It's still going to be double red flags, likely even over the next couple of days. And a lot of that's going to be because of the rip currents behind this. No new update on the strength of Hurricane Erin. We're not going to see a new update really until we get to 8 o'clock. So very close to a new, and of course we'll keep you in the know. As far as our rip current dangers, it does look a little bit lower right here, but I'm really going to call it red all the way up from where we were looking around Rhode Island. That could even extend parts of Massachusetts over to Rhode Island and then up into New Hampshire and Maine. That's how massive a system this is, down through Florida. So it's not often you see the entire East Coast under red for a chance for rip currents. We were also mentioning, and Majestic brought this up at the top of WCNC Plus, there's a couple of other waves that we are watching and the National Hurricane Center is watching. That one in red likely by the weekend will become at least a tropical depression. It's going to be kind of a race over the next couple of days if Fernan is going to be the area in red or the one that's much further off towards the east. The one that's further off towards the east is actually actively being investigated as well. So we shall see. Honestly, in my opinion, this one has a better chance for, I think, more longevity. This one's dealing with a lot of wind shear, but there's a little bit more to this one. So we'll see over the next couple of days. But the next name up that's pronounced Fernan, and then we have Gabrielle and then Umberto for the next three names on the hurricane name list. Let's move back home, shall we? We have 73 degrees right now with some sunshine around Charlotte. Monroe looking gorgeous. 71 degrees there and 66 with some sunshine up in Boone. This is a much better forecast. I'm pretty pumped about it. But behind Erin, we have no direct impacts. We have a lot more moisture, and there's also a front that's sliding into frame. That's going to keep some scattered rain chances around for your Thursday and your Thursday night. And then high temperatures today, just about 1 degree cooler than what we had yesterday, 86 degrees, and then still could have a real feel right around 90. Let's get to our futurecast. Scattered showers and storms first start to pop up between about 1 to 3. I think they become a little bit more widespread, especially west of I-77 to close out the afternoon, begin the evening. I just want everyone to have the umbrella kind of on standby for the afternoon heading into the evening, and then you're going to have some scattered showers and storms throughout the evening heading into tomorrow. And tomorrow we could actually have some wet roads and a wet morning commute, but not right now, a dry morning commute. Let's find more details about your traffic with Majestic.
Good morning, everyone. Yep, not too bad as you're heading out for your Thursday morning commute. At least we don't have a whole lot of rain right there. Really no rain right now. A little overcast sunshine trying to peek through for some locations like right here. I-77 flowing all right as more people are waking up, heading out the door. Multiple wrecks, though, to let you know about. This one here, I'm watching it carefully for you. It's on I-45, the outer loop there at exit 65. That's out towards Pineville. In addition to that, we have an actual picture of this one. It's on 5th Street and Charlottetown Ave. You can see it's off to the side, so not bringing many major impacts. And then to the south of it, this one I've been talking about, this has been cleared on Sardis Road, so no more problems there. But to the north, don't forget, this is a little problematic here. It's on Moorhead Street and Tryon Street. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll see you right back here in just a couple of minutes.
Well, good morning, everyone. High temperatures returning to the mid-80s today. Yesterday we were at 87, so only a degree difference, kind of similar to what we had on Tuesday. The 90s, though, not really seeing any of those in the near term. Our Futurecast is also showing a first chance of an isolated storm early to mid-afternoon, but I think most of the activity that we see really ends the afternoon heading in the evening. So just letting you know, anyone especially west of I-77, good shot for storms this afternoon. Then everyone is going to have a potential as we work our way through the evening and the overnight, and this could linger into your Friday morning, by the way. That's going to keep things cloudy and damp for most of your Friday before things start to break up. Highs in the low 80s Friday, Saturday, mid to the upper 80s Sunday, Monday, and then back to almost fall-like weather on Tuesday and Wednesday. Majestic, what's going on this morning?
Good Thursday morning, everyone. It's 7:27. If you are getting ready to head out the door, here's a quick look at some of those drive times coming in from Belmont and Matthews. Just under 30 minutes. A little bit of sunshine trying to peek through all those clouds out there, but area roadways are nice and dry. This is I-77. Multiple active accidents right now. Want to get you to I-485 out towards Pineville. The outer loop here at exit 65. There's an accident on the ramp. Make sure you're mindful of that. And then this right here, right in the uptown area, there's a crash there on 5th Street in Charlottetown. Take it easy and have a great day.
Thanks for joining us live on WCNC Plus at 7:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Megan Bragg, in for Ben Thompson. Charlotte's Hispanic Heritage Festival is canceling this year's event. It was scheduled to happen next month at Truist Field, but the organizers say they're canceling due to immigration enforcement concerns.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane is live this morning. And Richard, we know that you spoke to officials about this decision.
Yeah, absolutely. That's correct, Megan. Good morning to you. Good morning, Lisa. Good Thursday morning, everyone watching us on the Plus. That event, which has taken place over the last 3 years, has just become a staple right here in the community. It's supposed to take place at Truist Park right here, and it is not going to, and that has the organizers saying they're saddened, but they say they did this out of an abundance of caution for all those people who would have fun, but they think their fun might be interrupted by the possibility of raids coming there. You know, the Hispanic Heritage Festival takes place every year for the last 3 years. So this will be the 4th year, and it was supposed to happen right here at Truist Bank Park next month. Now, the Hispanic Festival has become a highlight in this Queen City, and the event is usually held here to thousands of folks coming to Uptown to celebrate with food, music, dancing, and cultural pride. But instead of filling the streets and the stadium with color and energy next month, the organizers say the festival is canceled They say they had to make that tough decision after they heard growing concerns from within the community about possible immigration and customs enforcement activity targeting their attendees. The leaders say their priority is keeping all the folks safe while having a good time, and they say they just can't do it in this current environment. So they say they made that tough decision to cancel the event. They say there's the hope that while this is a significant blow to look forward to those who look forward to the annual event, they hope to bring it back in the future. You know, it's been a very important thing for the Latino population here, which now makes up about 15% of Mecklenburg County residents. The leadership of the organization say it's more important than ever to have safe spaces to celebrate culture and heritage in, and unfortunately, in this environment, they just can't do it at this event.
You know, it was a tough call for us to make, but it's the right call to make. Considering all the immigration temperature, what's going on right now, things are not looking too well for our community, and we just felt exposing their community in a large, venue, a large event, 10, 11,000 people, it's just going to be something to where we felt that it could be, we could be targeted in a large mass gathering. So we felt like it would be more responsible for us at this moment just to pause the festival.
This event back here, maybe the political climate will change in the future and they can once again have this event here next year. We're reporting from Uptown. This is Richard Devane. We'll send it back to you.
And again, no decision has been made about next year, so it is possible it could return. All right, Richard Devane, thanks so much for that live report.
All right, let's get right to it. Let's go back to this image here. I'm going to show you this really on and off through WCNC Plus, and this is a pure example of what overwash is all about. And overwash is a term used by the National Weather Service, meteorologists, and also the USGS, that's the Geological Society, just meaning that you have an influx of water for a higher tide than normal, oftentimes with storm surge, that rushes in over roads, buildings, infrastructure, and sometimes it can get stuck and locked in place. So I've been watching this bulldozer. Now, this camera is going to update every 1 to 3 minutes. It's actually lagging a little bit more than normal, but this bulldozer right now is going back and forth, picking up all the sediment and sand that is washed up. There's one little pile that they just made. So it shows what Highway 12 looks like right now, and the reason why it was closed down, because water at one point was completely flowing over this, where that part of the dune did break. Now, the dunes do a great job really trying to prevent something like that happening, but it isn't always just an absolute cure to the problem. Meanwhile, over here in Buxton, North Carolina, you can't even really see the black of the road. You can see a little bit here, but everything is super sandy. And over in Okotoks, well, that camera is completely pointing down. Wind gusts were only about 40 to 45 miles per hour, so winds weren't really too much of an issue, but still overall a mess right along the Outer Banks. As I mentioned, wind gusts spiking to about 40 to 45. This is not a big wind event. This is just the pure power of Aaron picking up that water and then splashing it on shore. We are so lucky that this storm stayed where it did, and it's still going to lead to some life-threatening surf. You have dangerous rip currents up and down the coast, so avoid the water if you can if you're going anywhere along the shoreline over the next few days. 105, that's current sustained winds. We're likely going to see that come down very slowly over the next 24 hours, but here's what I was talking about, seeing a sea of red up and down the coast. My, oh my. Also tracking the tropics, I have a little bit more detail on what's going on here. So you have a 70% chance over the next 2 to 7 days for this one to turn to a potential storm, but then a 40% chance for this guy over the next 2 days. So it's going to be kind of a race of which one is going to be Fairnon in the near term. But then the one that was a little bit further off towards the east, a little bit close to Africa, is actually Invest 99L. So that is actively being investigated for a forward momentum. The other one looks to be more of a turn out to sea. So that's why the National Weather Service has already named this as an investigation area. The other one could likely become Invest 90L over the next day. And then Fernan, Gabrielle, Umberto and then Imelda are the next 4 names on the hurricane list. Today, right around Monroe and Charlotte, it is a gorgeous start to the day. Nice mix of clouds and sunshine. Boone right now around 66 degrees. High temperatures only reaching about the mid-60s or mid-80s overall for the time being. And then we are going to see a little dip in our temperatures. Only an overcast sky for most of the day on Friday. Some on and off rain is going to be a possibility. And then we will see a near normal high on Monday back to 88 degrees. But all in all, a lot more lower 80s compared to where we should be this time in August. Coming up, I'm going to have more details about the rainfall that we see today and also your full weekend forecast, as well as a sneak peek of what you could expect for that final Panthers preseason game. But now we're going to get an actual peek at traffic this morning. How's it looking?
It's getting active, that's for sure. Good morning, everyone. If you're getting ready to head out the door, well, you might want to grab those sunglasses. Seeing some sunshine. You can see it here on I-77. Traffic is picking up as more people are waking up and heading out the door. Let's get to it. A few accidents to know about. This one's still ongoing. It takes you out to I-45, the outer loop there at exit 65. Seeing some of those backups slowing you down a few minutes for that morning time commute. This one is right in the heart of Uptown. It's on 5th Street and Charlottetown Ave. You can see a picture of it off to the side, so not bringing major impacts, but you might see it if you're driving that way. Just to the north of it, we have another crash on Moorhead Street and Tryon Street, mainly green around it, so probably off to the side. You're still able to get through it just fine. Stalled vehicle, this one's new. It's on Beatties Ford Road at Montana Drive. That yellow's indicating that there are some medium impacts. And then here, remember on I-85 South, there is an accident. You see this red right here. We have stop and go traffic. It's once you get onto 485, that exit at 48. That's exit 48 there, where we're seeing that big congestion starting to build. And then finally, right here, we have another accident. 2 of them. We'll highlight this. It's a crash here on Jessica Lynn Lane at Alexa Reed Road. So very active this morning. Lots going on in the 7 o'clock hour. We'll have another check on those area roadways next time I see you back here in just a few minutes. Back to you guys.
Majestic, thanks. Right now, the United Way is looking for hundreds of volunteers for its Day of Caring in Union County. Volunteers are needed for 50 projects this Saturday from 8 a.m. until noon. Those projects include cutting the grass, weeding flower beds, pruning shrubs, and lots more. To sign up, head to WCNC.com/community. We're back in just 2 minutes with more on WCNC Plus, including why more families are choosing school online. For some kids, the first day of school means waiting for the bus. For others, it's as simple as opening up their laptop and logging on for roll call.
WCNC Charlotte's Bria Smith live in the studio with us this morning. Bria, why are more families choosing school online?
Well, Megan, North Carolina Virtual Academy is welcoming 4,000 students for the 2025 school year. And school leaders say that's due to many reasons, but overall, they say it's just the right fit.
Kids come to us for a variety of reasons. Sometimes we get professional athletes that need a little bit more flexibility. Sometimes we get the students that they have social anxiety and, the regular brick and mortar is a good fit for them.
Christina Rodriguez is the head of schools for North Carolina Virtual Academy. She says it was after COVID that the growth for virtual schooling became a popular choice for families.
Since the pandemic, obviously it's become a little bit more known that virtual schools are out there. We really cater to those kids who are looking to drive their education in a safe, secure location with really out those distractions.
The virtual school is a public charter school, meaning it is a tuition-free option spanning from K through 12.
So that takes out that pressure for anybody who's looking for different kind of education, resources for their child. Having that tuition free and being a public charter school means that your credits will transfer over, means that you're having the same graduation requirements as you are in any public school in North Carolina.
NCVA instructs students from across the state, including right here in Charlotte.
They come in, they learn their systems, they learn, some of the nuances, like we're in Canvas this year. So they'll go in Canvas and they get almost 3 days of full orientation before they actually start. They'll take their diagnostics and other things, and then they actually start in their full classes next Monday as well.
Well, orientation is already underway for the Virtual Academy. Rodriguez says they are always accepting new students from grades K through 6. For more on NCVA, visit our WCNC Charlotte mobile app. Back to you guys.
All right, Bria, thanks so much. Sounds like an interesting concept. Well, as kids are heading back to school, you as parents will probably be packing lunches and those backpacks.
So this morning, we are looking at the everyday impact that overpacking a child's backpack can have on their body. From 2019 to 2021, the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission says about 1,200 kids went to the ER due to backpack-related injuries to kids.
We do know that heavy backpacks can contribute to chronic neck pain, chronic back pain, chronic shoulder pain, and even chronic headaches in some children. And so we definitely want to make sure that the backpack isn't too heavy.
Brown University Health states girls and smaller children have a greater risk of getting injured because they usually weigh less but carry the same load as older children. So what's the sweet spot? Brown University Health suggests your child should not be carrying more than 10 to 15 pounds of their body weight on their backs. That means if a child weighs 60 pounds, their backpack should not exceed 6 to 9 pounds.
So maybe instead of 10 folders, maybe making sure that they have maybe one binder with dividers so you can cut down on some of the extra items that you have. And then just making sure that you're reviewing each day what they may need and making sure that they have exactly what's needed for that day and not unnecessary items.
It's also important to have correct placement. That means straps over both shoulders and making sure it's not hung too low and not too tight. So make sure to distribute the weight evenly and have a weekly clean out with your kids to make sure it's not overpacked. And Lisa, you know all about that.
Well, here's the thing. So I do have my kids clean out their backpacks on Fridays. I call it weeding out, take out all the trash and snacks and stuff from the week. And it's amazing what can be in there. But I guess I haven't thought as much about the weight. I'm more focused on, do you have everything you need in there? Now I'm going to be like, is this too heavy? I don't know. All right. Thanks a lot. Well, as kids head back to school, Belmont police are actually stepping up their efforts to catch speeding drivers. A new traffic initiative is focusing on speeding, stop sign violations, and keeping walkers safe in the areas where police get the most complaints. On the first day, the officers made more than 30 traffic stops in just 4 hours.
The influx of residents, obviously you have more traffic. Our population almost doubles daily with commuters coming from Charlotte.
Since becoming a parent, I'm more aware of it. Just put yourself in somebody else's shoes. You know, we all have somewhere to go, right?
Biggest thing is presence. Just being here will slow people down. Not every stop requires a citation.
By the end of the week, the officers plan to release all of the traffic data they've collected over the past 2 weeks.
And keep it right here. We'll be back in about 2 minutes. We are taking a live track of Hurricane Erin and taking a live look right now at New Jersey. Beaches up and down the East Coast affected by that storm. Officials are warning people to avoid the water until this weekend. We do see some people out there walking on those beaches. Doesn't look like anyone's in the water, which is good. While mandatory evacuations have pushed more than 1,000 people out of the Outer Banks, others are deciding to stay put. For those remaining parts of NC Highway 12 remain open this morning. But as we heard from Governor Stein earlier this morning, he's warning drivers to be extremely careful and aware of the rising water. While this hurricane won't be a major threat to the Charlotte area, though, city officials say this is the perfect time to prepare for future storms. Strong winds and heavy rain from hurricanes can bring down large branches, topple trees, and damage property. Experts suggest inspecting your trees for loose limbs and signs of disease that can weaken your trees. Now, if you're concerned about a tree on your property, consult an expert, and for any emergency situations, call 911 immediately.
Excellent advice there, because here in the Charlotte area, just because everything's so shallow rooted that sometimes it only takes a 30 to 40 mile per hour breeze if we have a saturated soil to topple over some of those trees. And we also technically have a second severe weather season. It's much less severe than what we usually have in the spring, but that's always something to keep note, and that usually happens during September. Our overwash scenario, I keep on bringing up this term. You can see that bulldozer, but the technical definition, since I've used this so much, is when a storm-driven wave or waves exceed the height of a coastal dune. So here's a perfect example, coastal dunes. We now see the break here. This causes sand to be carried over the top and deposited inland, and sometimes that water can be trapped too because the dunes were doing their job. And I actually reached out to the local National Weather Service here to see if there were any integrity or any problems here along the dunes, because oftentimes this type of scenario can completely change the landscape and the topography, and can lead to what's called an overwash fan, where physically you see a fan from up above from the aerial view, and it completely changes the flow of water, and then also can make things more flood prone in the future. Now, the Outer Banks sees this all the time, and the more fans, well, the weaker it gets, and then oftentimes it can weaken infrastructure, and that's why so many areas, say around Roanoke and not Roanoke, around Ocracoke, is where you've seen some of those houses that have been falling into the water and such. Now, our other cameras that we're looking at right here around Buxton, they have people that are now trying to clean up. A lot of sediment still here on the roads as well. And then another example right around Okotoks, seeing a tremendous amount of overwash here. And then Oregon Inlet, still not really clear exactly what is happening there. Our maximum wind gusts overall, we've already hit the peak. Aaron is now moving far out to sea, so this is not really going to be an issue that I'm really going to be monitoring going forward. Just letting you know that really things are starting to put in the rear view. But what's happening right now is it's actually a low tide that we're heading into. It was just recently high tide. So when we have a high tide starting to return later on this afternoon, there is another chance for a little bit more overwash. Nothing as extreme as what we just saw, but that's going to be a case and scenario. Also coming up over the next 8 minutes, we are going to have a closer look at Hurricane Aaron's newest update, and I'll also have your full forecast as well. But real quick, our 7-day forecast, 86 degrees for today. There's a slight chance for rain earlier this afternoon, but I think it's mainly late afternoon through this evening, and that rain could linger into your Friday morning. Friday does look to be a little bit cloudier as well. High of 80 degrees, still staying humid at that point. Back to normal with 88 on Monday, but check it out. We're back to the lower 80s on Tuesday and Wednesday, and I'm calling it fall, y'all. Yeah, this is your Carolina fall alert. It's also going to feel not as humid at that point. So if you've already been lighting up the cinnamon spice candles, thinking of pumpkin spice, well, at least you have a taste of that end of September-like weather. Majestic, take it away.
All right, here we go. Off we go. We do have a lot of sunshine coming in on this camera, but a lot of areas still holding on to plenty of cloud coverage. Roads are dry right now, but like Chris said, you might get some raindrops later on today. We have a handful of accidents that are ongoing still. This one here, it's on I-85 South at I-485. So just to get on to 485 right here, it's at exit 48. The accident is on the ramp. In addition to that, just to the west of it, we have an additional crash on Prosperity Ridge Road at Thompson Ridge Road. You can see the colors popping up, meaning that cars are moving rather slowly. And then this one just to the left of it, it's in a neighborhood, so it's on Alexa Reed Road. In addition to that, I told you there's a lot going on. I want to show you a picture that we just got in not too long ago. It's right around Uptown. It's on 5th Street at Charlottetown Ave. You can see the cars off to the side. Cars can still pass through. I'm not seeing a lot of colors, meaning that cars are just moving fine at this point. And then there on Moorhead Street and Tryon Street, we have an active crash that is currently ongoing.
All right, thanks, Majestic. Our effort to clear the shelters continues, and the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Animal Care and Control is going all in to help. This Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., the Charlotte Shelter is waiving adoption fees for dogs, cats, and other adoptable animals. CMPD Animal Care and Control's Melissa Nicely shared the importance of clearing the shelters.
One of the words that comes out of our mouth all the time is talking about full.
Yeah.
And how full we are and how full shelters get in the summer months especially. And that is no different at Animal Care and Control or the shelters around this area. So perfect time to go out and support by adopting a shelter pet for sure.
Again, a reminder, our big event will be this Saturday at CMPD Animal Care and Control. You can scan the QR code that you do see on your screen. We'll have extended coverage for you on WCNC+.
We'll take a look at this. This is live pictures from Nags Head. We're going to take a quick break, but keep it right here on WCNC+ as we continue to track Aaron and the impacts along the coastline here in the Carolinas.
Good to see you. Good morning. High temperatures in the mid 80s today. Still humid. It's August. We expect that. Feeling more like 90 degrees. And we're going to have on and off showers through the afternoon. Not everyone's going to see them. I think it's a much better chance later on this evening. So if you're going to the Panthers game, just watch out for approaching shower or storm. Here's a look earlier in the afternoon. An isolated storm at this point. Seeing a more scattered environment of storms to complete the afternoon, especially the further west that you go of Charlotte. And then we're going to have on and off rain, on and off storms through the overnight. So it could be wet for a couple of hours for some of you. And then it looks like we start to see a wind down for some of this activity as a front is drifting its way down towards the south. That's going to lead us to some lingering light rain for much of the morning. That means it could be a wet start to your Friday morning before we start to dry out slightly by the afternoon. Highs only about 80 degrees tomorrow, 82 on Saturday, and then warmer after that. Majestic?
Everyone, hey, if you're heading out the door, let's get a quick peek on those area roadways. This is I-85 here. Off to a fine start to the morning. A handful of ongoing accidents, though. Taking you straight into the uptown area, we do have a crash. It's on 5th Street and Charlottetown Ave. There's a picture of it. Seems like it's off to the side, so cars seem to be moving through just fine. And then north of uptown is actually I-85 south at I-485. That's exit 48. There's currently an accident on the ramp. Make sure you're mindful of that and have a great Thursday.
Good Thursday morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us on WCNC Plus. I'm Megan Bragg, in for Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. Happening right now, polls are open for early voting in the city of Charlotte's primary.
This is your chance to help decide who will be on the ballot this November. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live for us this morning with everything you need to know before you head out. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, it is 8 o'clock and polls are officially open for early voting in the municipal primary. We already have a good handful of people who have just parked in the parking lot here at the Hal Marshall Annex. And remember, this is the only spot that you will be able to vote early, at least for this week. And then 8 more sites will open up after Labor Day. So you still have plenty of time to participate in this election. Now, on the ballot is the mayoral Democratic primary that will have Mayor Lyles facing 4 other challengers. There are also Democratic primaries in District 1, 3, 4, and 5, while District 6 voters will see a Republican primary. Then in the City Council at-large race, there's no primary for Republican candidates, but 10 Democrats are running for 4 seats. If you're not sure who's on your ballot before you vote, you can check by entering your voter information on the Mecklenburg County County Board of Elections website. And then, of course, don't forget to bring your photo ID to the polls. Again, this week, Hal Marshall Annex is the only early voting site running from 8 to 5 p.m. on weekdays. After Labor Day, there will be 9 sites total open across the city of Charlotte, open from 8 to 7:30 p.m. And then on Saturday, September 6th, the final day of early voting, you can vote from 8 to 3. So lots of different options if you choose to vote early. Primary election day is September 9th. That's a Tuesday. And on that day, you have to vote at your assigned voting location. During early voting, you can go to the Hal Marshall Annex here or any of the other sites that will open September 2nd. But you do have to go to your assigned one on primary election day. And we have more information about that in this story on the WCNC Charlotte News app. I'll send it back to you ladies in the studio.
And Destiny, as a lot of people are going to be heading out today, is a regular photo ID okay, or do they need a real ID?
Yeah, regular photo ID is okay. It is just the same as you would in previous elections. So we do have a lot of people that are coming in this morning. Just keep in mind that, you want to pick a day that is best suited for you. You want to have everything that you need. But there are also lots of volunteers that are here to help you. No long lines, so it shouldn't be that busy, at least on day 1 of early voting. But again, lots of different time options. And then September 6th is a Saturday right before primary election day. So yeah, just a regular ID is fine. And of course, we have more information on our app with that as well.
All right, Destiny, thanks so much. 8 o'clock, right when it opens. So these are early voters. I guess that's a good sign.
Yes.
All right, 8:03 now. You're taking a live look. This is Wrightsville Beach this morning. We're expecting to get a better look at any damage caused by Hurricane Aaron as the sun comes up this morning. I see at least one person out there along the beach there, I think. Maybe not.
Oh, yeah, there's some people in the
there's
water.
some people. Okay.
Surfers.
Yeah.
I think those are
My
surfers
goodness.
out there.
I think you're right. All right.
Yeah,
So
surfers live for this.
I imagine so. The word of the day, though, you have to just be careful and cautious if you're going to be heading out, because we know that storm is hundreds of miles off the coast, but there are some impacts here in the Carolinas. Of course, North Carolina's Governor Josh Stein declaring a state of emergency, urging people to be careful amid the possible flooding and those rip currents. All right, Chris joins us now.
All right, so I want to talk a little bit more about what's already happened along Highway 12, since we are seeing a better look. So let's go to graphics. I'll show you the most recent look that we've seen here. So this is right around the Ocracoke Ferry Dock, and seeing an extensive amount of sediment that came here from all the different overwash that we saw there. And there's also a lot of weak spots that we've had along the dunes that we're actively seeing here. And I want to show you exactly what happens there. So overwash, I give you the definition just recently, that's storm-driven waves that exceed the height of coastal dunes. So what you're looking at there is the coastal dunes there. And I was actually just reaching out to the National Weather Service around Moorhead, and I was asking about some of the breaks that they were seeing here north of Hatteras Village. And by the way, that area of water that you're seeing, that one vehicle, this is a JPEG image, that's Highway 12. So Highway 12 is underwater in many spots. And this area, they said, has been weak for years since Hurricane Isabel. And is just north of Hatteras Village, and for much of the day, there's a lot of breaks along the dunes. So this biggest impact that we really saw here is oftentimes when you have overwash, it changes the topography and it can weaken dunes and it can make things more flood prone. That's exactly what you're seeing here. Seeing a lot of south side flooding right along Eagle Pass Road in Hatteras Village, if you're familiar with the area. And then Ocracoke also has a lot of areas that are underwater as well. Pretty substantial, up to about a couple feet in a few locations. So that's the most recent update that I'm getting on the ground for some of the emergency responders. The good news is a lot of people evacuated. They left because of the high waves, and you just don't want to be around there since literally you're at sea level. And Hurricane Aaron, the new advisory is out and there's no change. It's still 105 miles per hour sustained winds, still moving north-northeast at 17 miles per hour. I don't think it's really going to be until the 11 o'clock advisory that we really get a better update. As far as that wind field, it's still much larger than North Carolina. We're lucky that we didn't really have the tropical storm force winds. It nudged actually a little bit further east since the last track that we were talking here on WCNC Plus, and that only brought wind gusts up to about lower end tropical storm strength, but we avoided the hurricane strength and the worst of the conditions. As for the wave heights, they're still going to be rocking and rolling, so great for the surfers out there, but highly do not recommend to be out on the waters. That's why you're going to be seeing red flags up and down the beach beaches of North Carolina at least, and then many beaches up into Virginia and north. And then those waves finally come back down to reality really by tomorrow. But in the near term, it's not just today, it's also going to be here Friday and Saturday that there's a high risk for rip currents around the mid-Atlantic states. It's not until about Sunday, once we had a really distance from Hurricane Erin, is where we just have a moderate threat for that flash flooding, where really it's up to about 1,000 feet away from shore that there could be still impacts. As for the rain, it's starting to pull away, but because of the general flow of Hurricane Erin, it's keeping the flow out of the north. So see all these rain showers that we're seeing right across Virginia? Those are going to work their way down towards the south. But we also have a front that's involved here, and that's going to be our rain chances here a little bit more on the local side for the greater Charlotte area. Meanwhile, in the near term, we also have one problemo that is going to be right around the I-40 corridor around Hickory, the one spot where we see some reduced visibilities, but other spots like Monroe, as you're seeing two different directions, one towards the Charlotte area, one towards the south. Oh, it's gorgeous. You have a nice little mix of cloud and sunshine. Real quickly, I'm going to tell my producer Trey that we're just going to go through your future cast as far as what your rain looks like. I think you're going to have some lingering on and off rain, mostly during this evening, overnight, heading into tomorrow morning. So that means the morning, I'm not worried about it. I don't really see our first shower popping up until around 1 to 3 o'clock. So that activity that I was just pointing out around Virginia, that's pushing its way down towards the south. When we get the front to move in a little bit closer, that's going to interact and drive up some more showers and rain. So that's why we really don't see any widespread rain until late afternoon heading into the evening. And that's also why we see more activity west of I-77 compared to areas to the east. Now, once you get into the middle of the evening and beyond, pretty much all of us are under the gun for a chance for more showers and storms. Late evening into the early morning hours, that's where I think you have this upper level low that starts to twist around the area. Because check this out. You start to see these back build, things start to slow down. And whenever something like this happens, it's going to keep rain around longer in certain locations. So from Charlotte and areas southwest, there's a chance for some minor flooding that could go on. These aren't especially high rain rates, but it's still enough to cause some morning traffic problems. That's 4 o'clock. Once you get to about 9 o'clock, the rain's starting to thin out, but could still sit around for several hours. So really not a pretty start to tomorrow. That's why it's actually going to be one of the cooler days that we have in the 7-day forecast. Beyond that, you do have a hit or miss shower, and some rain could also return on Saturday. So Friday and Saturday are the cooler days in the short term. We're back to the mid to the upper 80s where we should be Sunday and Monday. And then we have another shift back down to around 80 degrees, but this time it's going to feel comfortable and actually a little bit more like late September. So a nice little break from the heat, even though we haven't really had a hot August overall. Majestic, what's going on this morning?
Good morning, everyone. Well, comfortable as you're heading out the door. Live camera looks not too bad this time, at least not on I-77, I-85 for the most part, flowing just like we typically would be this time of the day. You can see some of our drive times right now. Now, if you're coming in from Salisbury, it's going to take you over an hour, 64 minutes there, 40 though out towards Gastonia. Still a handful of ongoing accidents though. Want to get to really the uptown area. This just got cleared. It was a crash on 5th Street, so no longer a problem. Just off to the east, though, this is still active. Look at all of that red starting to build. It's on I-85 south. Once you get onto I-485, that ramp there, that's where we do have that accident that is currently ongoing. This one's still active as well. It's a crash here on Prosperity Ridge Road at Thomas Ridge Road. So yes, definitely some slow-moving traffic. And then another one just off to the west of it that I was talking about that's mainly in a neighborhood. It just got cleared. So we are starting to see some improvements. This is ongoing here. It's on Moorhead Street and Tryon Street. Still seeing mainly green around it, so not majorly problematic, but that's what I'm watching for now. We'll give you another update coming up here shortly. Megan.
Charlotte is now one step closer to making a major investment for its future transportation. Last night, city leaders voted to approve the 30-year blueprint for transit and road projects across the region. The plan focuses on 4 major mixed-use projects, including the light rail and rapid transit expansion. It aims to address the city's growth with a focus on improving connectivity and reducing congestion. City and county leaders are banking on a November vote for Mecklenburg County on the 1% sales tax increase to fund these transportation improvements.
We're back in 2 minutes with a warning for pregnant women. The time is now 8:13. Thanks for streaming on WCNC Plus. This morning, Mecklenburg County public health officials are warning pregnant women about a nationwide shortage of a critical drug. Bicillin LA is the only recommended treatment for syphilis during pregnancy, but supply is running low. That shortage could undo recent progress in reducing infections here in North Carolina. Health leaders say syphilis can pass from a mother to her baby, causing blindness, premature birth, even stillbirth. It is time now to connect the dots. That's when we make the news make sense. A new study is offering a breakthrough look at how some breast cancers grow and why weight may play a bigger role than initially thought. Being overweight has long been linked to breast cancer. Now scientists may know why. Let's connect the dots. A new study suggests some breast cancer tumors may feed on nearby fat cells. Researchers found aggressive tumors can tunnel into the cells and suck out stored energy. The study focused on triple-negative breast cancer, which is a fast-growing form that's harder to treat and more likely to return. It's also more common in younger women and Black women. In lab tests, when scientists blocked the tumor's ability to steal fat, the cancer stopped growing. That could lead to future treatments and starve tumors without hurting healthy cells. Experts say this may also explain why obesity is a risk factor for breast cancer and why losing weight might help protect against it. And that's connecting the dots.
California health officials on high alert this morning for treating a person who caught the bubonic plague. Peyton Hadley reports on how doctors believe the disease spread and why it's showing up there.
I think it's crazy. I didn't even know the plague was still something that was going on.
For both visitors and residents of South Lake Tahoe, it's shocking to hear about a case of the bubonic plague.
That was very news to me, and that's scary.
But the cases are rare, but they do occur.
Heather Orchard, the nursing manager for El Dorado County Public Health, says plague bacteria are commonly found in higher elevation areas. It's carried by rodents and often transmitted by fleas.
So this person was camping in an area in South Lake Tahoe and was bitten, likely by a flea.
That person is now getting medical treatment and recovering at home.
A lot of the symptoms are very common: nausea, vomiting, muscle aches, a bite that they may have noticed.
While these cases can be serious, they are curable.
It's treated with antibiotics and it's early identification.
The last human case of plague in El Dorado County was in 2020, but officials are routinely tracking it. So far this year, 4 rodents have tested positive in the Tahoe Basin.
We should have something letting people know that, hey, be careful, wear something. We should make some aware to people.
Still, there are a lot of questions from people who frequent the area.
Is this the only place it's been happening?
About a disease they first read about in their history books and the latest person to test positive.
That was Peyton Hadley reporting. Health officials say plague bacteria are most often transmitted by bites from fleas or infected squirrels, chipmunks, or other wild rodents. But dogs and cats can also bring infected fleas into the home.
That's something we thought was gone for so many years. Surprised it's resurfacing. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break. We'll keep it right here on WCNC Plus.
Well, we continue to track Hurricane Erin and taking a live look right now at New Jersey. Beaches up and down the East Coast affected by the storm. Officials are warning people to avoid the water until the weekend. I mean, you can barely see the water there. It looks very, very foggy at this time, Chris.
Yeah, and you have also some active rain that's blowing all around.
Yes.
Not a great situation there. But I've been talking all morning about Highway 12 and some of the overwash. What's really cool is I was reaching out to the National Weather Service in Moorhead.
Okay.
And one of the local journalists there, Sam Walker from WOBX, actually sent me some really cool videos. So here, let's bring up weather graphics. I'm going to step over here because I want to roll it. And I want you two to see this as well.
Okay.
So here's a look at Highway 12. It's completely underwater, but then you see, of course, the dunes just to the left there.
Yes.
This was sent to a viewer from named Brian, who is taking video at high tide. So I want to show you exactly what happens here. There's no sound. Wow. So you see the water coming up and then watch.
Oh my goodness.
Boom. And all that is now actively flowing through here. So that's exactly the reason why everything was so flooded. So this is high tide, for an example, what happened yesterday. Substantial. And the dunes do a great job. But
Brian almost got, is that Brian? Was he in there?
you're going to see Brian, I think, here in a second.
Okay.
I think there's Brian. Or maybe that's Brian's friend.
Or someone.
Who is now wet shoes.
I mean, because you were saying overwash and you were trying to describe it for us, but seeing it like this really puts it into perspective.
Yeah, so this is the definition of what overwash is. It's literally washing over the dunes, and because it's doing that, what are dunes made of? Sand. So that sand is now being flowed onto the roads and everything that's surrounding it. That's the cause of a really big wave, because these dunes do a great job. And what I was also learning from Sam Walker here is that it was Hurricane Isabel years back that actually took a lot of chunks out of these dunes. So that's allowing different inlets, and the water is able to flow a lot more freely. That's why you were seeing such a disaster there. So I just wanted to share this with everyone since we've been talking about it all morning. And that happened yesterday late afternoon before Erin was even really parallel to the Carolinas. So that's the reason why you're seeing so much water here. There's a ton of sediment that's on the road here on Highway 12. So a lot of the Highway 12 is currently closed and will continue to be closed just because, one, they have to get rid of the water, and two, they have to remove all of that sand. And some other looks that I'm seeing across the area, this is also Ocracoke Ferry Dock to the north, and you see a lot of sand there as well. But you literally saw what overwash is all about. Anything outside of Erin is just going to be a typical forecast here for the Carolinas, but it's still too close for comfort. Thank goodness, again, this didn't make direct landfall. You saw what it was like when it was over 250 miles away from the Carolinas. I think it was closer to 300 miles southeast at that point of the amount of waves and the water that rolled through. So I will continue to repeat myself. Boy, are we lucky. This could have been a whole lot worse. But those rip currents are still going to be a major impact. You see a lot of surfers out there. They're strong swimmers, but it is still dangerous regardless of what you're going to do. And to wrap up this tropical update, we have a 70% chance over the next 2 to 7 days that the area of red will also try to follow suit and turn into at least a tropical depression to even a tropical storm in the coming days. And then also Invest 99L, that's an area in orange to the right. That's also going to be rivaling that other band. If that one forms into a storm, that one's going to have more longevity, and that means about 1 to 2 weeks from now, we're talking about disturbances in the Caribbean and maybe even the United States, something that we're really going to be watching closely. Now let's move back to home, shall we? I have some great news for you. Today we have some sunshine from place to place, high temperatures in the mid 80s. Look at that background. That's a gorgeous shot. Nice to see some Carolina blues. We're looking right now is our Dallas camera. Temperatures in the lower to the mid 80s throughout the afternoon. Some of us trying to spike to about that upper 80-degree zone, but the problem is we have just so much cloud cover, I think, that moves in later on that's going to really inhibit our warm-up past that 86 degrees. But then you also see a nice little downtrend. This is the dew points. Now, the higher the dew point, the more humid it feels. The higher it gets above 75, it feels tropical, but we're actually heading the opposite direction where we have some comfortable to dry-like dew points. That's why we've been saying Carolina fall alert, y'all. Yeah, temperatures down in the lower 80s, actually feeling like 80 degrees because of that lack of oppressive humidity. So a nice little change if this is your jam and your type of forecast. Let's get over to our traffic report. Hopefully no traffic jams.
All right, let's get to it. And multiple accidents out there. You can see a very busy map right now. I'm going to highlight a few of them, a few that I'm really keeping my eye on. Right here in Uptown 5th Street in Charlottetown, that's actually still ongoing there, an actual picture of it. And then as we head towards I-85 southbound at I-485, once you're trying to get onto there, there's an accident on the ramp. So we're starting to see those backups right there. Again, I-85 southbound. Just off to the west, we have another accident here. It's a crash on Prosperity Ridge Road and Thomas Ridge Road. Still active. We'll keep a close eye on that. Otherwise, again, we do have a lot of things that we're continuing to follow for you. So just take it easy as you're heading out the door. A crash here on Albemarle Road at Denver Drive. This is a new one here. All of that red just indicating stop and go traffic. These are the things I'm watching for now. We'll give you another update coming up in just a few minutes, but we're going to take a quick break for now.
Well, good morning, everyone. Our high temperature is not too far off from what we had the last couple of days. 85, 87. We're splitting the difference. 86 for a high today. We have a decent amount of sunshine to start off the day. A beautiful day for most of us. A little bit of fog around the I-40 corridor closer to Morganton, but all in all, not a bad beginning to the day. And you will see more clouds, I think, heading into the afternoon. At that point, we're seeing a chance for a few isolated showers and storms. Better chance for storms west of I-77 to complete the afternoon and begin the evening. I think all of us will see a passing shower at one point. Might be sleeping by the time it happens, but you'll see it on and off throughout this evening heading into tomorrow. Now, tomorrow morning does not look to be a great start to the day. I think you start off overcast and even damp. Some of us dealing with hours of rain as the system slows down and kind of churns around for the morning time. And then you'll have some spotty sprinkles heading into your Friday. Not a great looking picture. Much cooler as well. Lower 80s Friday and Saturday, mid to the upper 80s Sunday, Monday before another cool down midweek next week. Majestic, what's going on traffic-wise?
Good morning, everyone. Let's get to it. A live camera look if you are getting ready to head out the door. It's 8:27. We do have dry roadways, but a little bit of cloud coverage out there lingering. This is I-77 from York County. There's a look at some of our drive times. Definitely starting to pick up as more people are up and awake. We are covering all these this morning on WCNC. Plus, you can always join us over there. This right here is active, though. It's a crash on 5th Street in Charlottetown. There's a picture of it. Make sure you're careful, and I hope you have a great Thursday.
You are streaming live on WCNC Plus. It's 8:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Megan Bragg. Ben Thompson is off. Charlotte's Hispanic Heritage Festival is canceling this year's event. It was scheduled to happen next month at Truist Field, but the organizers say they're canceling due to immigration enforcement concerns.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane is live this morning. And Richard, you actually spoke to officials about this decision.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, Lisa. Good morning to you. Good Thursday morning, everyone. I spoke to one of the co-founders of this event who says that right now it was supposed to take place next month here at the Truist Field, but basically because of the concerns of so many folks, they said they had to cancel it. You know, this event had become a major tradition right here in the Charlotte area, now off the calendar. The Hispanic Heritage Festival of Carolinas is not taking place this year because of fears of immigration raids that led to their difficult decision to cancel it. The Hispanic Heritage Festival has become a highlight in Charlotte. This would have been its 4th year. But instead of filling the streets with color and energy at this year's event, organizers say the festival is canceled. They say they did this after hearing from the community who were concerned about possible immigration and customs enforcement activity targeting the event and its attendees. Leaders say their priority is keeping families safe. While the festival was meant to be a celebration of unity, organizers worried the fear of enforcement would keep people from attending, or worse, put those who did attend at risk. The cancellation, a significant blow to many who look forward to the annual event, which helps shine a spotlight on our growing Hispanic community here in Mecklenburg County. You know, the Latino population now makes up about 15% of residents, and leaders say it's more important now than ever to have safe spaces to celebrate their culture and their heritage.
You know, it was a tough call for us to make, but it's the right call to make. Considering all the immigration temperature, what's going on right now, things are not looking too well for our community, and we just felt exposing the community in a large, venue, a large event, 10, 11,000 people, it's just going to be something to where we felt that it could be, we could be targeted in a large mass gathering. So we felt like it would be more responsible for us at this moment just to pause the festival.
Yeah, but Rick Herrera says that there are plans and talks to try and have it here going forward. Of course, hoping that the political climate and the reason for them canceling this year will change in the future. We'll keep you posted on what they decide. Right now, we're right here in Uptown. Richard Devane, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Richard, thanks for that live report. We're going to check back in with Chris now. I know you've been tracking, Aaron, you've been talking about some of the impacts, showing us that overwash there that happened on, I think it's Highway 12 out on the coast. But things here at home looking pretty good today.
I know, it's amazing, right? And sometimes it takes a powerful hurricane to drag away some of the cloud cover. We're going to see a lot more arrive a little bit later on. But yeah, no, coming up here in the next 15 to 20 minutes, I'm going to show you some of the best video that I've ever seen that shows you an example of what overwash really is and the impacts that we're seeing here over on NC12 in the Outer Banks. But today, no real big impacts. Yeah, I think you could have a passing storm. 86 degrees today around Charlotte, 83 for you in Hickory, and then 74 right around Boone. And I'm super excited where things are going. Today's humid, and today's even very humid. But then beyond today, we see a downward trend. Downward trends aren't always good, but they are in this case and scenario, because that is allowing the humid and sticky air to take a complete break by the middle of next week. That's why we've been Carolina fall alert, but temperatures in the lower 80s, not super humid. I think that will be an eventual uptick as far as our moisture content and our temperatures heading through your Labor Day weekend. But hey, it's a nice little treat, right? By tomorrow, we can anticipate a cloudy day. I think it's also going to be dealing with a lot of on and off rain as well. And by the weekend, we're starting to break the cloud cover, allowing for a little extra sunshine. Sunday, kind of a similar day to what we have today. I think just less of a rain chance. Highs returning back to about that 86 degree point. So let's get right to it. I think that today is really a split difference of what we've seen over the last couple of days, but it's this evening that's going to have the best chance for rain. We have an isolated storm chance. This is just filtering in from the north, actually a flow from Erin is causing this, but then another front rolls in, and that's why we have more rain to the west of I-77, and that starts to take over. And this rain will be heavy at times, and it's also a slow-moving system, so that's going to be a slight cause of concern. We do have a low chance, a low risk for some flooding overnight tonight, and this is also going to linger for a damp, wet morning commute, especially closer to around Spartanburg down to Greensville. And then you see this rain eventually break up throughout the morning. Still a spotty shower and even an area drizzle is going to be potentially here for your Friday. Next round of rain could potentially be on your Saturday morning, but just a chance for an isolated storm. And then after that, a lesser chance for rain on Sunday. And then our temperatures starting to come back up with more sunshine, 86, 88, matching where we should be. And then another dry front looks to strip our temperatures down. Look at our lows back down into the lower to the mid 60s and falling down to about that 80-degree point. So that's why I'm calling it your fall alert. Yes, we have a similar day to Wednesday on Friday as far as 80 degrees goes, but it's going to be humid tomorrow. It won't be as humid next Wednesday. So if that's your jam, you like the drier and comfortable air, you have a great forecast on the way. But if you like typical August weather, no case of the Mondays for you. Now let's get over to traffic with Majestic, see how things are behaving. How's it looking?
Good morning, everyone. Well, let's take a live look outside. If you're just waking up and turning on the TV, well, at least the rain's not coming down here in Charlotte. We do have traffic that's starting to build, though, so yeah, you'll want to keep this in mind if you do have some place to be early on this Thursday morning. Let's break down a few things, some of those drive times. If you're waking up in Matthews, good morning to you. Just about 30 minutes if you're coming into the Charlotte area. And then you can see my map. It is busy out there, a handful of ongoing wrecks. This one has been cleared, though, so keep that in mind. That was out towards 5th Ave near Uptown. This one is still ongoing, though. This is on I-85 southbound. To get onto I-485, it's the ramp. That's where there currently is an accident. You can see those colors popping up, meaning that it is moving rather slowly. What we're also watching was this crash here on Prosperity Ridge Road. Want to give you an update that has since been cleared. And then once we head down to the south a bit, look at all of this red. Never a good thing to see on the map. Stop and go traffic because of a crash. It's on Albemarle Road and Denver Drive. So that's out towards Willgrove. Keep that one in mind. It's going to slow you down about 5 minutes this morning. And then this one here on Beatty's Ford Road has since been cleared. So definitely seeing some active things out there. Take it easy for your Thursday morning commute, and we'll have another check on those roads coming up in just a few minutes. Lisa.
Majestic, thanks so much. 8:37 now. We're going to take a quick break, but keep it right here on WCNC Plus. We're going to be back with a report on why more students are choosing to learn online. For some kids, the first day of school means waiting for the bus. For others, it's as simple as opening up their laptop and logging in for roll call.
WCNC Charlotte's Bria Smith live in studio this morning. And Bria, why are more families choosing school online?
Well, Megan, North Carolina Virtual Academy is welcoming 4,000 students for the 2025 school year. And school leaders say that's due to many reasons, but overall, they say it's just the right fit.
Kids come to us for a variety of reasons. You know, sometimes we get professional athletes that need a little bit more flexibility. Sometimes we get the students that they have social anxiety and, you know, the regular brick and mortar is a good fit for them.
Christina Rodriguez is the head of schools for North Carolina Virtual Academy. She says it was after COVID that the growth for virtual schooling became a popular choice for families.
Since the pandemic, you know, obviously it's become a little bit more known that virtual schools are out there. We really cater to those kids who are looking to drive their education in a safe, secure location without those distractions.
The virtual school is a public charter school, meaning it is a tuition-free option spanning from K through 12.
So that takes out that pressure for anybody who's looking for different kind of education, you know, resources for their child. Having that tuition free and being a public charter school means that your credits will transfer over, means that you're having the same graduation requirements as you are in any public school in North Carolina.
NCVA instructs students from across the state, including right here in Charlotte.
They come in, they learn their systems, they learn, you know, some of the nuances, like we're in Canvas this year. So they'll go in Canvas and they get almost 3 days of full orientation before they actually start. They'll take their diagnostics and other things, and then they actually start in their full classes next Monday as well.
While orientation is already underway for the Virtual Academy, Rodriguez says they are always accepting new students for grades K through 6. For more on NCVA, visit our WCNC Charlotte mobile app. Back to you guys.
All right, Bria, thanks so much.
Well, our effort to clear the shelters continues, and the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Animal Care and Control is going all in to help. This Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., the Charlotte shelter is waiving adoption fees for dogs, cats, and other adoptable animals. CMPD Animal Care and Control's Melissa Nicely shared the importance of clearing the shelters.
One of the words that comes out of our mouth all the time is talking about full. Yeah. And how full we are and how full shelters get in the summer months especially. And that is no different at Animal Care and Control or the shelters around this area. So perfect time to go out and support by adopting a shelter pet for sure.
Again, a reminder, our big event will be this Saturday at CMPD Animal Care and Control. You can scan the QR code that you do see on your screen to learn more. We'll have extended coverage for you on WCNC+.
We're back in 2 minutes with the latest on Hurricane Erin.
We continue to track Aaron. This is a live look at Myrtle Beach. NBC's Aaron Gilchrist reports as the storm pounds the East Coast with massive waves, flooding, and evacuations.
This morning, Hurricane Aaron lashing North Carolina's Outer Banks. Tropical storm force winds driving the ocean into unprotected shore over and over. Overnight, the artery connecting Hatteras Island to the mainland under threat, officials closing part of Highway 12 as water rushed over the road. It's the only road on or off the island, which has mostly been evacuated as the dangerous surge sweeps in. The hurricane, which is hundreds of miles offshore, is still packing wind gusts near 50 miles per hour and potentially destructive waves up to 20 feet high.
This, I think, is by far the worst. I'm anxious.
Double red flag warnings and no swimming signs lining beaches up and down the Carolina coast.
No one should be in the ocean. It's a serious storm, and conditions can deteriorate quickly.
As the residents who didn't evacuate hunker down.
The biggest concern is the access to whatever we need, medically, food, electricity, water, all those things.
96-year-old Carol White Dillon, who has owned the beachfront Outer Banks motels since the 1950s, is worried about the ocean snatching her main cottages right off their pilings.
It would be devastating for me to lose them.
She is planning to stay on the island to deal with whatever happens.
Now, you didn't evacuate. You're staying here.
Well, I would never leave. Let's put it that way.
NBC's Aaron Gilchrist with that report. And, you know, it's interesting. There are people who live at the beach who've been there for decades who say, I've seen storms before, but you have to take those cautions when they're being issued.
One thing that we're seeing a lot more is that it doesn't matter if it makes landfall. And we focus so much on Helene for what it did for landfall in the Big Bend area, up into the Carolinas, of course. But people forget that Helene also gave some epic flooding and a lot of damage to Tampa Bay because it was just a passerby. And this is an example that we're seeing a lot of roads underwater for a storm that wasn't near the shoreline. It was 200 to 300 miles offshore that caused all this. So that's a big concern, especially for the Outer Banks, as people continue to just have to deal with flooding like this. Now, this is the newest video that I just received. Again, a big shout out to Sam Walker, who's collecting all these videos. And it was Beth Midget who sent this along. This is Eagle Pass Road in Hatteras Village, and you can see everything's just underwater. Now, the big problem that we had here, and I've been mentioning the term overwash, all that water, when we hit high tide yesterday, came up over the dunes. Well, now it has nowhere to go. It's now just trapped in there because you're not going to have the ocean that's going to pull it back out. So, of course, it can go down the different sewers and drains, but this is all ocean water, people. And then there's also a tremendous amount of sediment and sand that's in the roads. This is the video that really just blew my mind yesterday. This is what overwash is all about. Somebody's taking video right here, and look, that was a big old wave, came up right to the camera, and all that water flowing in. So that's the reason why we're seeing a lot of our cams and parts of NC 12 underwater, and then it's approaching all those homes. Crazy to see.
And I think it's something to also note too, as you could see that guy kind of toppled over. This water is so strong, Chris. Something that we, often forget, and that's why it's really important to know, to turn around, not drown, and all the things that we do say.
Yeah, and they're lucky here, but eventually, imagine if it fell on the other side, you could potentially be pulled out. The strong rip currents as well. But that's staggering to see in that flow of water. We've seen all waves come through, and again, this was about 300 miles away from the Carolinas that we're seeing waves like this.
And the dunes, I mean, there's nothing they can do. I mean, that's, wow.
No, the dunes are doing what they're trying to do. And I'm glad that they're okay, but this is just a really good example of what can happen when a storm's not even close. And where that video was taken, the last one was right here. This is north of Hatteras Village. You can see the dunes along there. And what I actually learned from Sam Walker, this is actually some significant breaks along this chain. By the way, that stretch of water that you're seeing right there in the middle, there's a bulldozer trying to get all the sand out of the way. That's Highway 12. Here's actually a new updated image. This is a JPEG image, so it comes to us actually every 5 minutes now. It's a little bit of delay with everything that's going on, but that's staggering. staggering. Yeah, it's just trying to put the sand back. But there's so many breaks along this from Hurricane Isabel, and that's just really lessening the integrity of the road. So elsewhere, what else we're seeing across the area? Here's a look over here at Oak near Ferry Dock. A lot of sediment that's left over there. Other cameras as well. Nothing really as impressive as what we're seeing. But also Buxton Road, we have a lot, Buxton, we have a lot of roads that are also underwater with all that sand as well. So again, the overwash was the big issue there. Things are improving, but they could have another surge from high tide with Erin still out in the sea. The newest update that I have for Erin is nothing really breaking compared to what we've been talking to you about. 105 mile per hour sustained winds. It will continue to weaken as it furthers its distance away from the United States. And I'll say it one more time. Boy, are we lucky that this didn't make landfall here in the United States and in the Carolinas. Let's get over to traffic with Majestic, see what's going on.
Well, good morning, everyone. Let's get to it. Want to give you some updates. This is I-77 heading out the door. Traffic is picking up as people are heading out. Area roadways are starting to get a little busier, as we would just suspect that we would see this time of the day. As we switch it over, though, to my live traffic maps, few things that you should know. Again, this is going to be really what we're watching over the next several hours. Those backups are still ongoing, but we do have just a handful of things that are still moving and making things run a little bit slower than they typically would. Here we go. So you can see a lot of icons, some red areas still popping up, meaning that traffic is just moving a little slower, taking you over to the Charlotte Uptown area. Again, this one, it actually just cleared, so making some progress there. But this one here, it's ongoing. It's I-85, those southbound lanes to get onto I-485. I think this one, even though we don't have a ton of backups, this one is probably going to be the most prevalent thing that a lot of people need to keep in mind. Again, I-85 southbound lanes right here. Once you're trying to get onto I-485, exit 48. So we'll keep you up to date with that, letting you know when it is clear. We'll break down everything else I'm looking at coming up here shortly. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Majestic. Check this out. A mother from Maine may have figured out the easiest way to reduce screen time for her child.
A lot of parents interested in that. She got her daughter a landline, and it turns out the child loves it, and now her friends have landlines too. Katie Delaney has the story.
For my birthday, I got a landline, and at first I didn't know what a landline was.
Molly thought it was a toy phone at first, but then her mom told her it was the real deal. And now Molly and her 8-year-old sister Piper are embracing the blast from the past instead of yearning for cell phones.
Hi, Gigi. You don't get addicted to the screen and stuff. All you do is just put it on your ear. You don't have to look at it. Hello? And it's like way more easier and funner.
For the past few months, Molly and Piper have been twisting their fingers in the cord, sometimes dialing the wrong number, and calling their loved ones.
I miss you. If we don't get to see them a lot and we just give them a call on the landline, that could make their day. Oh, hi, Mom.
The whole point of this was to increase their independence and increase their kind of own responsibility.
And that's exactly what happened.
You can plan your own play dates and you don't have to ask my mom to text or call the other parent.
And most importantly, Piper and Molly can schedule band rehearsals. The landlines make it even easier for these young musicians to get together to rock out. The only problem with getting Molly and Piper a landline was that their friends didn't have them. But their mom, Karen, got a bunch of families involved. And now they have a landline pod with about 24 people the kids can call.
We couldn't do this if I didn't have our friends and our family and our neighbors jump on board.
One of those neighbors is Melinda Hall, who got a landline phone for her 8-year-old daughter, Carly. Carly, calling from her phone, says she was happy to join her friends on the landline train.
It's wonderful. I mean, it's just so amazing. I just like how simple it is to just call my friend, and I can really listen and pay attention to what they're saying.
The parents of the landline pod say the phones are really helping their kids communicate and listen better.
It's a really marvelous opportunity to help her build those skills.
I love
that. I really do too.
Let's bring him back for all the kids. I'm so here for that. My daughter says she wants a phone.
There you go.
There you go.
What would she say if you gave her that?
Oh, I don't even. She'd probably look at it like, what? What do we do with this?
And they don't have, like back in our day, there was the long cords that would knock stuff off of the counters and stuff like that. So
the anxiety of calling your friend's house.
Oh, yeah.
Like getting their parents being like, hi, Mrs. So-and-so.
Yes.
Like, that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, yeah.
There's something to be said about a simpler time.
Yeah.
All right.
agree.
Tell us about the forecast.
All right, well, the forecast is going to be in full detail as we're going to be going over to the Impact Studio, and we're going to have a live cut-in over on NBC. Make sure to join myself, Jane, and Carlene in the Impact Studio here on WCNC+. We'll have a lot more, and I have a lot more video to show you coming from the Outer Banks. See you soon.
All right, sounds...
Hey, good morning. Similar highs to the last 2 days. More clouds later on in the day, but a nice mix of clouds and sunshine to begin it. And we're also looking at a better chance for rain a little bit later on as well. Check it out. An isolated shower early on. Much better chance, especially in the mountains and the foothills throughout the afternoon. And then all of us throughout the evening could have showers for a couple hours or just briefly. But I think we're going to keep this on and off rain pattern heading into your Friday morning. So it could be a damp start to your Friday morning. Also not a lot of sunshine and cooler. 80 degrees Friday. We're warm back up Sunday, Monday, heading into next week. We cool down yet again. Majestic, what's going on this morning?
Good Thursday morning, everyone. Area roadways are flowing, starting to still see some accidents, though, and more traffic out on those area roadways. A lot of icons still popping up on my map. Want to let you know about this one here. It's on I-85 southbound at I-485. So once you're trying to get on there, there's an accident on the ramp. And in addition to that one, this one is kind of new as well. There's a crash here on I-85 southbound at exit 43. That's University City Boulevard. Drive safe.